Hi you guys, this is Monique and today I'm going to be making for you my easy breezy pineapple upside down cake. Um, Everything that you will need I'm about to go over, very simple. You need um, Duncan Hines Pineapple Supreme cake mix. You will need 1 box of vanilla pudding, any brand, 1 cup of light brown sugar. I don't use the dark brown because it once it caramelizes in the pan, it seems to get too dark. So 1 cup of light brown sugar. Anytime you measure light brown sugar, you have to pack it. You know, when you put it in there, that's solid. You pack it in, okay? You will need 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, coconut oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, whatever kind of oil you use. This is vegetable oil. You will need 2 of the cans of pineapple slices because you'll use about 1.5 of these. And 4 eggs at room temperature. I always use large eggs when I bake. Most of the time I use brown eggs because they give a richer flavor to the cake, but I didn't have brown today. I had white, so 4 large white eggs, 4 large eggs rather, at room temperature. You're going to need 1 cup of pineapple juice, reserved pineapple juice that you just get out of these cans right here. And finally, you will need, well, not finally, but you'll also need the maraschino cherries, just a small jar of those because you're only going to use about 12 of them. And you will need 1 stick of butter. I use salted butter. You can use unsalted butter. I just prefer to use salted just because it, to me, it gives the caramel, once it caramelizes on top of the cake, it gives it a better flavor. And anytime you add salt to sweet, it always brings out the sweetness of your cake or whatever dessert you have. This is a 13 by 9 pan, and you will need something to flip your cake out onto. I'm going to flip mine out onto one of these boards. Okay, so first thing you want to do is set your oven to 350 degrees. I already have my oven preheated, and we're going to go ahead and put this pan in the oven and melt the butter. Okay, while that butter is melting, I am going to go ahead and start on my cake mix. So in your mixing bowl, you want to take your pineapple supreme cake mix. Down on here. Put that into your mixing bowl. Then you want to take your vanilla pudding. Be really good if they made a pineapple pudding. That would be bomb, but I can't find anything like that. You want to go ahead and add that. And you can just put all of your ingredients in the bowl. You don't have to, it's not a from scratch cake, so you don't have to do the wet and dry and all of that stuff. Go ahead and add your pineapple juice. I'm going to crack the eggs into this cup so that I don't get any, I can make sure I don't get any shells in my mix. If you crack them into the bowl and you get a shell in there, it's going to be heck to get it out. Okay, got the 4 eggs. Go ahead and put those right in there. And your 1/2 cup of, like I said, this is vegetable oil. Get that in there, okay? We're going to go over to the mixer. Get rid of this stuff while I'm going. Now I have a KitchenAid stand mixer. This is not the correct attachment. This is a whipping attachment. You really need a paddle attachment, but unfortunately I lost mine, so we're going to use the whipping attachment. Now you can do this with a regular hand mixer. If that's what you have, use what you got. Okay. You always want to have your rubber spatula because you're going to have to scrape down the sides. And you want to go ahead and start mixing this real slow. Start off slowly. And then you can build up to kind of make sure you don't splash everything around. Okay, I'm going to turn this up a couple of notches. You want to beat it until it's smooth. Probably going to take about 2 minutes. While this is mixing, I'm going to check on that butter. Yep, that's done. See that? All melted. Okay, let that sit there for a second. And scrape down the sides. It's not perfect, but it will do. Now this may be a little too much for most people, but this is what I do. My hands are clean, and I don't like to leave any cake mix behind. So I make sure that I get every bit of the cake mix off of the beater that I can. I don't leave much. Okay. And it does have a few lumps, but it's okay. They'll smooth out in the baking process. Okay. So here we have our on here. Look down here. You don't have to look at me every time I talk. Here we have our melted butter. Gonna go ahead and turn out our brown sugar in there. And you can use a spoon or a spatula for this, but for me the best thing to do is just get in there with your hands. It's not really hot anymore, it's kind of warm, but it's easier to do with your hands. Just get in there and mix all of that butter up. It's a lot easier and quicker to get that butter wet. To get that brown sugar wet. And as soon as you get that, all of that brown sugar wet, you just go ahead and pat it out evenly across the bottom of your pan. Okay. Now that's just about, that's exactly how you want it. Make sure everything is nice and even across the bottom of your pan. I'm gonna go wash my hands right quick. I will be right back. Okay. Now we're going to take our pineapple slices and we're going to arrange them on the bottom of the pan. You should be able to get 3 across with the 13 by 9 pan. You have to squeeze it in like that. I'm not going to use that one because it broke. But that's okay because you're always going to have some left over anyway for snacking. And just lay these nicely across the bottom. This is the fun part to me. I like this part. I mean, I like the whole process because I love to bake, but this is just the funnest part. And it should be 12 pineapple slices. And once you turn this out, you know, once you turn it out, the top is on the bottom and the bottom is on the top, then you'll be able to slice it where everyone gets a pineapple and a cherry on their piece of cake. Just take one maraschino cherry, and it's always best if you get the ones that are already pitted and stemmed. Anyway, you don't have to take the stems out. And just pop one cherry down in the middle. In the center of your pineapple slices. Well, put one cherry down in the middle of your pineapple slices. I'm not going to use that one. That one is torn up. I want it to be pretty. Okay. There you go. Now, give me 1 second, let me wash my hands again. Or wipe them off. Oops, I dropped my towel. Now we're going to take our mixture, our cake mix, and just pour it all over. And just like I don't like to leave anything on my beater, I don't like to leave anything in my bowl. So my kids know there's no bowl licking or anything like that, because Mama's gonna scrape it all out. I don't know why I'm like that. I kind of feel like I'm cheating the consumer, especially if I'm selling a cake. I feel like I'm cheating the consumer on their product if I don't use all of the cake mix. I don't know why I'm like that. So that's just about as good of a bowl scrape as you can get. Then you want to take your spatula and right there in the corners and stuff, you want to just push the cake mix all the way into the corners. But gently, because you don't want to dislodge any of your fruit at the bottom. And that is very easy to do. And I know that seems like a lot of butter, but it's really not, because it's going to caramelize with that brown sugar, and it's gonna actually help. You don't have to grease this pan or anything like that, because that butter is gonna help it come out. Okay, and you always want to give your pan about 3 solid taps on your counter, table, or whatever. And that's to get out all of any air bubbles that you might have in there. This is going to go in the oven. The oven again is set at 350 degrees, and it's going to take about 40 to 45 minutes. You'll know that it's close to being done when you start to smell it. Then you can check it. And you'll always want to check it with a toothpick. Stick a toothpick or a knife or a fork or something like that on the inside, in the center of it. And if it comes out clean, then it's done. Okay, so we're going to give that, like I said, about 40-45 minutes, and then we'll come back and I will show you the finished product. All right.